If you look at the raw numbers, Indonesia has the 5th largest Facebook community and the 5th largest Twitter community, which makes sense because they have the 4th largest community in the world behind China, India and the US. But what's really amazing is that Indonesia has a higher rate of social media users to internet users of any country in the world. About 20 to 40% of all internet users also have a Twitter account, which is the highest in the world, above the UK, the USA and Australia. Jakarta is the #1 Twitter city in the world, which means more tweets come from Jakarta than any other city. Bandung, which is a city that not many people have heard of, has the 6th highest number of tweets, ahead of London, Paris and Chicago. So the question is, what are Indonesians doing on Twitter? And that's a question that we're still researching and trying to find the answer to. There's a lot of reasons why Twitter makes sense as a communications medium in Indonesia. Obviously, here there's a very high mobile penetration rate. Something like 1/4 of all internet users are accessing the internet through their phone. They don't even have a computer at home. So the barrier to entry for Twitter users is very low. They're carrying their mobile phone and tweeting wherever they go. Another is the Indonesian language, which uses the Roman script, the same as English, so it's very Twitter friendly as a language. Those are the technical reasons, but I think there's some social reasons why Twitter is popular as well. One is the Indonesian culture. Indonesians like to be with others. They like engaging with their culture, and above all others, they like to follow trends. Indonesians like to use Twitter to stay on top of trends and on top of what's going on, and to refer trends to others. We see this reflected in the fact that Indonesians retweet more than they tweet. So the majority of Twitter interactions in Indonesia is just people reflecting ideas that they like back to their friends. I think the final reason that Twitter is so popular is that it caters to the Indonesian style of abbreviating words. So in English we have SMS slang like LOL, but in Bahasa Indonesia they take this to a whole other level. So one word I learnt recently was Jeksel, which is for Jakarta Selatan or South Jakarta. So even basic, mundane, everyday things, Indonesians have found an acronym, and that fits in nicely to the character limit of Twitter. Brands in Indonesia already recognise that they need to be on the Twitter sphere, and they often embrace Twitter really enthusiastically. But once they're on the platform, they're not quite sure what they should be doing, and they're not getting the results that they expected, and so they blame Twitter itself. What I would recommend to brands is to recognise that you need to change your communication style if you're going to use Twitter as a communications tool. So what worked in the old way probably won't work online. What we do at Weber Shandwick is we help brands to find their genuine voice and help them with a way to engage with their fans online. We encourage them to take an approach that's really engaging and open and human, and so that people can emotionally identify with the brand. One of the challenges for digital PR agencies when they're trying to work in Indonesia and using tools like Twitter is because the language is ever changing, it can be very hard to do things like online monitoring and social media listening. Our social media teams are having to update their algorithms and their data set as much as every day to stay on top of the language changes. We'd like to make sure that we're able to measure things like online sentiment accurately. That means we need to know the words and the language that people are using. That can be a really big challenge.